Okay, today we're playing a game on Route 66, we are in the Diamond SR range, and we will be playing McCree on defense and Genji on attack. And our current team composition is Reinhardt, Zarya, McCree, Widowmaker, Mercy, and Ana. So the unfortunate thing is that the combo of healers is very awkward, because Mercy and Ana basically equates to no Zenyatta. And you know how Season 10 be, it be a lot about Graviton. Now, you can argue, hey, if we got an Ana, we can throw the grenade when their Zenyatta uses Transcendence into the Graviton, and that's cool. But we don't have a Zenyatta for if we get Gravitoned, and then the Dragon Strike comes through us, and oh no, we die. Life is very difficult like that these days. If you don't have a Zenyatta, sadness tends to come. Also, Bridget's still a cool hero. It's a different issue. I would also be slightly concerned about Widowmaker McCree as the combo of DPS, because it's a fairly low presence combo of DPS. Basically, you and Widow will need to kill a lot of people back to back, because otherwise there's the risk of just kind of getting rolled over by a dive composition, basically, or just an aggressive team composition in general. So there's that. Now, in the accompanying email, we have a few questions today. First off, we have, I noticed that my positioning with McCree and Genji were off. As Genji, I don't always know when to engage and when to disengage, and as McCree, I mainly play him on defense and always try to stay high ground, but get shredded anyways. Also, should I be going for headshots or body shots? Very sudden transition. We'll talk more about the engaging and disengaging and whatnot as the game goes on, but typically body shots or headshots. Headshots are better, but if you're not consistent at landing headshots, it's more important that you just shoot them. Like, McCree kills a 200 health hero in 3 body shots, or 2 headshots, or a headshot and a body shot, so it's like 3 body shots is not a drastic difference, really, to 2 shots, but headshots are obviously better, but if you're not consistent at landing headshots, just land body shots, that's fine. And then, you know, ideally, as you get more practice at doing the body shots, eventually you get better at doing the headshots as well, by extension, because, you know, muscle memory kind of works that way. Number 2. I know you never use the voice channel in Overwatch, but I still think it's a good idea to at least give some callouts to your teammates, hence the question. What do you say to a team that's tilting, and what do you say to someone who ain't swapping? So I find that, well, I find, generally people don't like being told what to do. So if you're trying to get someone to swap, it's usually better to present it as a suggestion rather than an order, because what most people will do is, Genji, change to X, and then the Genji goes, well, I don't like being told what to do, so I'm just going to stay on Genji, even if it's objectively the worst choice. Whereas if you say something like, hey, like, you identify what the problem is, and you say something like, hey, can we get an XYZ, because to counter their XYZ. And then, because it's presented as a suggestion, the other person feels like they are making the decision rather than being told what to do, which means they are generally more likely to agree with you, but if someone ain't swapping, they ain't swapping. As for what to say to a team that's tilting, I tilt them more. So, you're talking to the wrong person about that kind of question. Ha 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 ha. Number 3. I've been playing a lot of Hanzo lately, and I don't feel that McCree is that viable anymore, so I wanted to ask in what situations you should play McCree and when Hanzo. So, if you're talking about strictly Hanzo versus McCree, Hanzo is better in every single situation currently. What about if there's a Pharah? Nah. Still McCree. The arrows travel really fast. He's practically hit scan, except at very far range. The thing is, McCree has struggled to, like, have a reason to get picked for a while, and it's only been more exacerbated lately, really. McCree can kill Bridget slightly easier than Hanzo, because you can throw the flashbang past the shield and then headshot Bridget, she's dead. But at the same time, Hanzo's just so much better than McCree in general that you're still better off picking Hanzo in basically all situations if you're just talking about Hanzo versus McCree. That being said, if you just want to play McCree, just play McCree. I still play McCree because I'm better at McCree than I am at Hanzo. I also just like McCree because I like the sharpshooter, Deadeye, fantasy of playing McCree. So I play him anyway, even though he's not that great. It basically has to be that you want to play McCree, or that you're very good at McCree, because just McCree isn't that good. He's kind of just a worse. Never mind. Thought I heard a noise. He's kind of just been a worse soldier for a while, but now with Hanzo being so strong, and there being, like, tanks everywhere, like, McCree is, even struggling even more so now. So if you're talking about it in objective terms, Hanzo is, like, always better than McCree, but if you really like McCree, just play McCree. No, we're good. No. No, we're good. Okay. I'm listening to something. Listening for a noise. Don't worry about it. You don't need to worry about it. So now that we've done all that mad long preamble, let's start the game. That's been like 6 minutes. Jesus Christ. Anyway, it's not as long as some of them have been, but I do love to ramble on about my own nonsense. So, we're defending first as McCree. Zarya is not standing in a very good position. Whatever, that's her decision to make, I suppose. Bridget's down there. We just fill time shooting at Bridget until something happens, such as life. So, I'm immediately scared looking at their team composition because I've seen Winston, D.Va, and a Genji. So, I'm worried that we're gonna kind of get steamrolled over right now. So, the Tracer and Genji, their team com's about as aggressive as it can possibly be. So, we as McCree now, we've got to try real hard to try and keep the backline alive with the Tracer and the Genji and everything happening. And, you know, we killed Tracer, so that's cool, but then, like, Genji kills people in the interim period. Life's difficult sometimes. So, we jump down. We should not jump down. Jumping down here is very scary, especially since Bridget is right there. Baguette's very scary to be close to. We don't need to jump down here. And, I mean, I guess we throw the flashbang at the D.Va, which makes it easier to kill her, but, like, we have given up the high ground to come down here, and then this happens. If we weren't on the low ground, that doesn't happen to us, basically. And the thing is with McCree is that if you decide to jump off of the high ground, McCree is not a fast hero. So if you jump off of the high ground, you are committed to being on the low ground now for a while. So you need a really good reason to jump off of the high ground, and that was not a really good reason to jump off of the high ground. So don't do that, and then Tracer wouldn't have killed us in that position. We're upset about no communication. I don't care. Very optimistic flashbang. You gotta be really certain when you use the flashbang on Tracer that you're, like, got a good chance of hitting the Tracer. Because if the Tracer sees you use the flashbang and it doesn't hit Tracer, Tracer is now gonna go very fucking hard on you, because suddenly you're not as scary. Right, now you have to actually hit Tracer, just, like, straight up, and that's hard to do. So if you're gonna throw the flashbang, you've got to be really sure the flashbang is gonna hit, because otherwise you get fucked by the Tracer. And that's true of several heroes, but Tracer in particular, she will go hard on you. So we fan the hammer at this Genji right here. Genji's too far to fan the hammer. You have to left-click him in that position because the fan, he's too far away to realistically kill with the fan. And now we have to try and kill him without it, but we did get a headshot in him while boosted. We've jumped off the high ground again. That's very scary. And we've jumped off the high ground in a very bad position because we're right adjacent to their entire fucking team right now. If you're jumping off the high ground, you need a really good reason to jump off the high ground as McCree. And, like, it's even harder to get back to the high ground on this checkpoint if a fight breaks out. So you need a really good reason to jump off the high ground. That wasn't a really good reason to jump off the high ground, and it was, like, really close to the enemy team as well. If you end up in a bad position that far up on the low ground, Jesus Christ, you have a long way to go to get back to safety. So Hanzo's, we now have a Hanzo. That's an objective improvement, team composition-wise. Especially when you also have a Zarya. Who would have guessed, right? So, they're coming around the left-hand side now. Here comes Winston. I'm not super stoked about using the flashbang like that, because it doesn't really do anything, because he's falling right now anyway. So, him being stunned while he's falling doesn't really make a huge amount of difference to him, honestly, so it just kind of doesn't really do very much. I'd rather we use the flashbang when he's on the ground, and then we can, like, flashbang him, press into him, and fan the hammer into his face or something like that, or save it to try and kill the Tracer and the Genji, because obviously they're still going to be an issue for us in the near future as well. Stunning Winston right there, Jesus Christ, excuse me, just doesn't really do very much. And we have so many things that we need to flashbang in this game that, oh god, is it scary to use the flashbang on, like, the tank. So now we got our flashbang deflected back at us. Unfortunate. It's better to aim high with the flashbang in my experience, like throw it over his head. It's easier to do that than like throw it down or to the side, but it's probably more of a preference thing than anything else. I find it easier to throw it over the Genji's head. Especially in a relatively confined location, because it just like crashes on the wall and breaks. So, where's the rest of our team right now? So, yeah, you know, the Reinhardt's here, leading us out, alright. It's just that, like, their team is so divey, and, like, coming out of this doorway versus a divey team is, like, very scary, because they're gonna get you. So he flashbanged Genji, but unfortunately he was, like, in the air, so it was difficult for us to actually kill him with the flashbang anyway. Now we don't have the flashbang to fend off the various other things that are coming right at us. Oh no. Trilby, why am I dying? Why am I dying? A lot of these have basically been positioning related. The last ones right there, it's difficult to do anything about just because of the position you're gonna be in as McCree. It's just like they're gonna dive on you, and your team can't do a lot to like drive them off, really, team composition wise. So it's just that one, there's not so much to do about. It's just like the architecture of the map versus their team composition, but the other ones have basically been like positioning related. Well, the one where we on the second checkpoint, it was we died like after flashbanging the Winston. It's just like we didn't have the flashbang to fend off the flankers. We didn't use the flashbang ideally, but also like we were pretty far up still when we got jumped on. And McCree is not a fast boy. So if you get dove on, it's scary. It's difficult to move back. Basically, like, what I would do versus this team composition is I would just change to Reaper. Like, Reaper's way less good at fighting the flankers, obviously. But, like, you can still fight them. Like, it's not like Reaper is useless against a Tracer or a Genji, right? And he's just so good at killing Winston D.Va. And McCree is better at killing the flankers, yeah, but he's so much worse against the dive tanks that while you're trying to kill the flankers, you're also being harassed by the divers and the flankers. So it's very difficult for McCree to deal with that. He just doesn't really have the kit necessary to do so. Reaper has greater survivability and better overall for these, like, really brutal skirmishes that we're getting involved in. So I think the best thing we can really do in this round is change to Reaper. Like, yeah, you're worse at killing the flankers, but you're so much better at fighting their team overall. Like, as McCree, like, you have to position and use all of your cooldowns really well in this position, and you have to land a lot of shots against a lot of difficult-to-hit people while you're being dove by D.Va and Winston. is just a difficult position to be in as McCree, and like stuff like that happens. It's like, we have Deadeye. When are we realistically ever going to get to use Deadeye? As soon as we try to use Deadeye, the entire Bolivian army is going to descend upon us, and they're just going to kill us, or force us to like cancel Deadeye, basically. So it's very difficult for McCree to do much in this position. And we do fucking kill Anna right there, which feels good. It's like the reason to play McCree is that, like, when you, like, fucking kill a couple of people back to back, oh my god, you feel like a god. You feel like John Wayne. Or Dirty Harry, or any such similar person you care to name. It's, feels real good. It's a scary Tracer, isn't it? It's like, even if we hit that Tracer, it's like she doesn't die to this flashbang. It just doesn't happen. Another reason that Bridget's really strong is that, like, right there, it's like, alright, you caught the Tracer. She has 300 health. What now? Right? What now? And then both the flankers come up on us. We've been stuck. Life's difficult. Sometimes like that. So now we're attacking. We've entered the Genji segment of the game. And, yeah, the McCree section was fairly tragic. Basically, change to Reaper is about the best thing you could do, really. McCree, even Soldier is, like, gonna be better, because Soldier is, like, better at these kind of, like, prolonged skirmishes because he has greater mobility than McCree, and Biotic Field is, like, sustain and all that. Like, McCree is gonna struggle unless you're a god in that position, basically. So now, we have to attack. They got it all the way to the end with plenty of time to spare, so the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So we're just kind of like filling space right now, because we kind of need to wait for our team to be in a position to actually like occupy the enemy team before we can go off and try and do any cute Genji plays right now. So I'm not really very stoked about this play right here, because that's Bridget. First off. Secondarily, oh fuck, right, the rest of the team, right? Here's McCree, Anna, and Zarya, all of whom are pretty good at killing Genji. And here's the other thing as well, is that when we're talking about engaging and disengaging as Genji, when you use your dash, you have to be, like, really certain that you're going to get the reset on the dash if you're using it aggressively. Because if you dash in like this, and, like, you don't kill the person you dash through, or the person doesn't die pretty close after you dashing through them, I'm not saying you have to kill them with the dash itself, right? But you do have to, they do have to get killed pretty quickly afterwards to get the reset. Like, it's through Bridget, and, like, we just dashed into their team through Bridget. We're never gonna kill Bridget that quickly. So we're just gonna be next to the enemy team without dash, which means we can't get back out again. Very common way to die as Genji is the Genji dashes into the enemy team, doesn't get the reset on the dash, and then can't get back out again. Genji is this way where he has to use his cooldowns to kill people, but he also needs to use his cooldowns to survive. So if you're gonna use your cooldowns aggressively, you need to be really certain you're gonna get the kill, because if you don't get the reset on the dash, it's so much easier to kill the Genji. The Genji that just dashes in and never gets a reset is so easy to kill. So, yeah, you gotta be careful about that one. So, it's a difficult team to play Genji against because they have a Bridget. You know how life is, right? It's difficult to play flankers against Bridget. So again, we've, like, dashed through Bridget, like, immediately, like, if we, like, fan a shot, like, right into her back, like, you know, we could fan a shot into her right now, do, like, a decent chunk of damage if we get it to, like, a solid hit in, then dash, and, like, maybe kill her. It's just, like, dashing straight down into her makes it harder to actually land any shots on her, and then, you know, again, we don't have the dash unless Bridget dies. Now, Bridget did die, so that's helpful. McCree kills himself on us, so that's also cool. The, Mercy's fucking pissed. There's a lot of reading the McCree that goes into when you use deflect. This is such a convoluted mess. It's so much easier when the McCree just kills himself on you. It's also one of those things where you're usually better off at, like, poking at the McCree or just, like, keeping an eye on the McCree, and then as soon as you see him use Flashbang, he's way easier to kill. Then you can just, like, go hard on McCree. McCree is that way. Where, once his cooldowns are used, he's way easier to kill. So we've come out here to use Dragon Blade, like, fair enough. It looks like we can still realistically capture this checkpoint with Dragon Blade, seeing as Dragon Blade's a really strong ultimate. And, yeah, we did. A lot of our team were dead, but, it still looked tenable, so it's fair enough. Bridget's there, be careful, you're gonna get stunned by Bridget. Standard fare. The cool thing about, Genji versus Bridget is that it's actually very annoying to stun Genji as Bridget, because Genji has the double jump. So he spends quite a lot of time in the air, so you can kind of jump around the Bridget and make it more difficult for her to stun you. So, it's not like... I mean, Bridget doesn't like hard counter Tracer or Genji, because they both have room to outplay Bridget, but you do have to be, like, really careful when you approach Bridget or when you're spending time near Bridget, because if you get stunned, she's gonna kill you, right? So, we're, like, going in on these boys right now. I kind of, like, lost track of McCree in this scuffle. Yeah, he, like, rolls backwards really suddenly over that. I was like... He suddenly moved really far back right there while he was low health. Like, we almost killed him. We just didn't quite execute mechanically on it, which is unfortunate. Aim better, blah, blah, blah. But I lost track on him right there. I was like, he got back there really quickly. Does have the roll, so, can cover a small distance quite quickly. So we've got Dragon Blade. Dragon Blade's a really cool ultimate, as it turns out. That was our Bridget? I just heard ult? Yeah, that sounded weird. You can't hear the video, but that sounded weird. Anyway, so Farah used, sorry, I'm still listening for something. Farah used Barrage. It didn't amount to very much. So, it's kind of nitpicky. It's just like... I'm not stoked about using the dash right there onto Hanzo. Like, I'd rather we cut him as we're falling down on him, and then if he lunges away, we follow him with the dash and cut him. It's unlikely to matter, because, like, we're going to kill him so quickly with the Dragon Blade, especially being damage boosted by Mercy, but at the same time, it can matter. A lot of using Dragon Blade is about chaining dash resets off of people, so you need kind of like a pretty certain idea of what you're going to do, and if you're dashing up to somebody who has an escape, you need to be pretty calculated in how you do that, because otherwise you can end up getting fucked. We're being mad greedy right there is basically what happens on that one. We did kill the Ana, so that's cool, but then we're just being mad greedy and, like, trying to chase down more kills, and then we end up getting killed ourselves. Greed is bad, except in very measured doses. Elevator music's playing in my mind. So now we've sort of lost momentum, and this is a difficult checkpoint to get momentum going again. Get fucked. Always very funny to see someone die right as they push their dash, or roll, if you're McCree, jump, Winston, anything like that. Fucking dead. So now, it's a little harder, it's a fair bit harder, really, to play Genji on this checkpoint, because it's just a confined location. It's very difficult to find people who are, like, by themselves and, like, capitalize on people's positioning. It's a difficult checkpoint to play Genji on, and their team is still rather difficult to kill as Genji, as Bridget, McCree, Hanzo. It's scary. So we've built up Dragon Blade. We definitely don't want to use it right now, because, like, this team fight's gone. So we just want to save that one for the next team fight. Does Ana have her ultimate? No, she's at 3%, so we ain't waiting for her to try and combo with her. We're probably just going to use Dragon Blade in the near future. If she was at, like, 60%, it would be worth holding it to try and combo it, but, like, 0% chart, nah, just use the Dragon Blade. You'll build up another Dragon Blade by the time she gets Nano Boost in all likelihood. So that's a scary door to go out of versus that team composition because they have Flashbang and Shield Bash. So that's a scary door to poke your face out of as Genji. We didn't get punished for it, but the rest of our team is dead. So now we have to wait for them to regroup anyway. And, oh, it seems like such a short time ago that we had almost 4 minutes to attack this checkpoint. And now we have a minute and a half. Isn't it funny how time bleeds away so quickly? There's three resources in Overwatch: health, ult charge, and time. Time is the important one because it's the only resource that's finite. You can't get more time. You can get more health and you can get more ult charge. You can't get more time. So that's the scary one to run out of. So, like, we basically get fucked by crowd control while this is happening. Like, it's just one of those things where if there's a Bridget on the enemy team, you have to be, like, you have to take the extra step to think, like, if I use Dragon Blade, am I likely to get fucked by Bridget immediately after drawing the blade? Which we did in that position. It's just one of those extra little modifiers on the game that you have to keep track of as Genji, because so much of Genji is based around Dragon Blade, so you've got to be careful about getting fucked by Bridget, because she can so consistently fuck you. It's like she just like likely has Shield Bash, so you just basically have to position around Bridget when you're going to use Dragon Blade. McCree is using Deadeye right after we use Deflect. Very sad times. I think we might have also used Dash badly in there, but I'm not going to go back to belabor that point again if we did, because I think we've already covered in agonizing detail why it's bad to use Deflect and Dash and not get a reset. Imagine if you could reset Reflect. Ooh, that'd be sick, wouldn't it? Chain kill those Widowmakers. So we've got 10 seconds right now, and things are not looking good. In fact, things are looking quite terrible. In fact, we're fucked. Everybody's dead, Dave, actually, as it turns out. So, in the email, you also asked if it was possible to win this game. It doesn't really look like it. Like, unless us changing to a different hero would have had a dramatic impact on the game, which it might have done during the first round, like us changing to Reaper might have had a dramatic outcome on the game. Just, like, looking at how it went, though, like, it doesn't look like we were gonna win, really. It was gonna be a difficult game to win. So, I can't really think of a recurring thing that we haven't already covered at agonizing detail. So, thank you very much for watching if you did. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you felt I answered your questions from the email inadequately, please let me know and I will try to expand further. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us. And I hope you found the video helpful.